The lie you've been told. Have you ever noticed how easy it is to feel motivated right after watching an inspiring video? For a few minutes, you believe you can change your life. You promise yourself, this is it. Tomorrow, everything changes. You'll wake up early, go to the gym, read more books, start that business, finally become the person you've always imagined. But then, tomorrow comes. The alarm rings, you hit snooze, your running shoes stay by the door, your notebook stays empty, your dreams wait. One more day, and suddenly, that powerful motivation you felt yesterday is gone. So you search for another motivational video, another quote, another speech, another spark. But here's the uncomfortable truth. If motivation was enough, you'd already be living your dream life, because you've been motivated hundreds of times before. Yet somehow, you're still waiting for your life to change. Why? Because the world has sold you a dangerous lie, the lie that motivation creates success. It doesn't. Discipline does. The addiction to feeling inspired. Most people are addicted not to success, not to hard work, but to the feeling of being inspired. Think about it. Watching motivational content feels productive. Reading about success feels productive. Planning your future feels productive. Talking about your goals feels productive. But none of those things actually move your life forward. They're comfortable. They make you feel like you're making progress without requiring any real effort. It's like sitting in a parked car, revving the engine. It sounds exciting. It feels powerful. But you're not moving an inch. That's exactly how motivation works when it's not followed by action. It creates emotional excitement without creating real results. And that's why millions of people stay trapped. They're chasing inspiration instead of building habits. Motivation is an emotion. Here's something most people never realize. Motivation is just an emotion, and emotions are temporary. Some mornings, you'll wake up feeling unstoppable. Other mornings, you'll feel tired, uncertain, uninspired. If your actions depend on your emotions, your progress will always be unpredictable. Imagine a pilot flying an airplane. Would you trust a pilot who only flies when they feel like it? Of course not. Pilots follow procedures, surgeons follow systems, elite athletes follow routines. Do I feel motivated today? They ask. What's the next step? That's the difference. Professionals rely on discipline, amateurs rely on motivation. The story of two people. Imagine two friends, both have the same dream, to transform their lives. The first person waits for motivation. When they feel inspired, they work hard. When they don't, they rest. Some weeks they're unstoppable. Other weeks they disappear completely. The second person has a different approach. Every morning, at exactly 6 a.m., they wake up, no negotiations, no excuses. Some days they're excited, some days they're exhausted. It doesn't matter, because they've already made the decision. Months pass, then years. Who do you think succeeds? Not the person who felt motivated the most, the person who showed up the most. Because success isn't built by intensity, it's built by consistency. Why most people never reach their potential. People think failure happens because of one big mistake. It rarely does. Failure usually happens quietly. One skipped workout, one extra hour scrolling, one day of procrastination, one excuse that sounds reasonable, individually. These choices seem harmless, but repeated over months, they become your identity. Your habits don't care about your intentions, they only care about your actions. You don't become successful because you want success. You become successful because your daily routine makes success inevitable. That's why discipline is so powerful. It removes the need to decide every day. The decision has already been made. You simply follow through. Transition to part 2. Here's the question that changes everything. If discipline is more powerful than motivation, why is discipline so difficult? Why does your brain fight you every single time you try to build better habits? The answer isn't laziness, it isn't weakness, it's something much deeper. It's hidden inside the way your brain is wired, and once you understand it, you'll never look at self-discipline the same way again. Your brain is designed to choose comfort, the hidden enemy. Here's the truth that most people never hear. Your biggest enemy isn't failure, it isn't fear, it isn't a lack of talent, it's your own brain. Not because your brain wants you to fail, but because it wants to keep you safe. For thousands of years, human survival depended on conserving energy. Food was limited. Danger was everywhere. Every unnecessary movement could mean the difference between life and death. So your brain evolved with one simple mission: avoid unnecessary effort. Back then, that instinct kept you alive. Today, it's keeping you average. Because the modern world rewards exactly the opposite. Success requires effort, growth requires discomfort, discipline requires doing things your brain naturally wants to avoid. That's why every meaningful goal feels difficult at first. Not because you're incapable, but because your brain mistakes discomfort for danger. Comfort is the new addiction. Look around. Never before has comfort been so easy to find. Hungry? Food arrives in minutes. Bored? Thousands of videos are waiting. Feeling lonely? Open social media. Need entertainment? Unlimited movies? Need distraction? Your phone is always in your pocket. Every problem has an instant solution, and every instant solution trains your brain to expect immediate rewards. The result? Patience disappears. Focus becomes weaker. Discipline starts to feel impossible. Your brain begins asking one question over and over: why work for something difficult when pleasure is available right now? That's the trap, the cost of instant gratification. Imagine two people standing at the bottom of a mountain. One starts climbing immediately. The climb is hard, their legs burn, their breathing gets heavier, but with every step, they move closer to the summit. The second person decides to stay at the bottom. It's comfortable. The view is nice, there's food, entertainment, no struggle. Hours pass, then days. Eventually, they look up and wonder why someone else reached the top. The answer is simple. One person accepted temporary discomfort to earn lasting success. The other chose temporary comfort and earned lasting regret. That's exactly how life works. Every decision is either an investment in your future or a payment toward your excuses. The discipline gap. Here's something interesting. Most successful people don't enjoy hard work every day. They don't wake up excited every morning. They don't always feel inspired. The difference is, they don't let their feelings make their decisions. When it's time to train, they train. When it's time to work, they work. When it's time to rest, they rest. Their emotions are passengers, not drivers. Most people reverse that. They let emotions drive, and discipline sits quietly in the back seat. The problem? Emotions change with the weather. One bad day, and everything falls apart. Discipline doesn't ask how you feel, it asks what needs to be done. The compound effect of small choices. People often overestimate what they can achieve in a week and underestimate what they can achieve in 5 years. One workout won't transform your body. One chapter won't make you an expert. One day of saving money won't make you wealthy. But repeat those actions long enough, and your life becomes unrecognizable. Think about water dripping onto a rock. One drop changes nothing. 1,000 drops seem insignificant, but millions of drops can carve through solid stone. Discipline works the same way. Small actions, repeated consistently, create extraordinary results. That's why consistency always beats intensity. Working hard for 1 week means very little. Working steadily for 5 years changes everything. Stop chasing the finish line. One of the biggest mistakes people make is becoming obsessed with results. They step on the scale every day, check their bank account every week, refresh their subscriber count every hour. They're constantly asking, is it working yet? But discipline doesn't focus on outcomes. It focuses on the process. Because results are delayed, the work comes first, the reward comes later. A farmer doesn't plant seeds today and expect fruit tomorrow. They water the soil, protect the crop, trust the process, and eventually, the harvest comes. Your goals work exactly the same way. If you quit because results are slow, you'll never stay long enough to see them. The identity shift. Here's the mindset that changes everything. Stop saying, I want to become disciplined. Instead, ask yourself, what would a disciplined person do right now? Because every action is shaping your identity. Every workout says, I'm someone who takes care of my body. Every page you read says, I'm someone who keeps learning. Every promise you keep to yourself says, I'm someone who can be trusted. Success isn't something you chase, it's someone you become. And every disciplined decision brings you one step closer to that person. Now you understand why discipline matters. But there's one problem. Knowing isn't enough. You need a system. Because discipline isn't something you're born with, it's something you build. And in the next part, motivation comes from a speech, a quote, a video. Discipline comes from the promises you keep to yourself. And every promise you break teaches your brain something. My words don't matter, but every promise you keep, even the smallest one, builds trust, not with other people, with yourself, and self-trust is the foundation of discipline. Rule number 1, win the first hour. Most people lose their day within the first 10 minutes. The alarm goes off, they grab their phone, notifications, messages, emails, social media. Before they even get out of bed, their mind belongs to everyone else. Instead, protect your first hour. Wake up, drink water, move your body, read something meaningful, write your goals, sit in silence for 5 minutes. The goal isn't to have the perfect morning. The goal is to remind your brain, I decide how this day begins. When you win the first hour, the rest of the day becomes easier. Rule number 2, make discipline. Easy people think discipline means making life harder. Actually, the smartest people make discipline easier. If you want to read more, put a book on your pillow. If you want to exercise, lay out your workout clothes the night before. If you want to eat healthier, remove junk food from your house. Why? Because your environment is stronger than your willpower. If temptation is always in front of you, eventually, you'll give in. Don't rely on self-control. Design your environment so the right choice becomes the easy choice. Successful people don't have stronger willpower, they have better systems. Rule number 3, never miss twice. Here's one habit that separates winners from everyone else. They understand that failure is part of the process. You'll miss workouts, you'll procrastinate, you'll have bad days. That's normal. The mistake isn't failing once, the mistake is failing twice. Skip one workout? Fine. Don't skip the next one. Eat unhealthy today? Okay. Choose better tomorrow. Have a lazy afternoon? Move tonight. Never let one bad decision become a lifestyle. Because one mistake is an event, 2 mistakes become a pattern. Protect the pattern, not your ego. Rule number 4, fall in love with boring. This might be the hardest lesson of all. Success is boring. It's doing the same things again and again and again. The workouts, the studying, the practice, the planning, the repetition. Most people quit because they're chasing excitement, but excitement doesn't build greatness. Repetition does. Think about a professional athlete. They've practiced the same movements thousands of times, not because it's exciting, because mastery demands repetition. The people you admire aren't extraordinary because they found a secret. They're extraordinary because they kept showing up, long after everyone else got bored. If you can learn to love repetition, you'll become unstoppable. Rule number 5, become the person you admire. Close your eyes for a moment. Picture the person you want to become. Maybe they're confident, disciplined, healthy, successful, focused. Now ask yourself, what would that person do today? Would they sleep in or get out of bed? Would they waste 3 hours scrolling or spend 1 hour building their future? Would they complain or take responsibility? Every choice is a vote. You're either voting for your future or your excuses, and eventually, the person with the most votes wins. Discipline creates freedom. Most people believe discipline limits freedom. The truth is the opposite. Discipline creates freedom. Financial discipline creates financial freedom. Health discipline creates physical freedom. Mental discipline creates emotional freedom. Time discipline creates life freedom. Without discipline, you're controlled by your moods, your cravings, your distractions, your fears. That's not freedom. That's dependence. Real freedom begins the moment you become stronger than your impulses. The quiet power of daily action. Nobody applauds the small moments. Nobody celebrates the morning you choose the gym instead of sleeping in. Nobody notices when you read 10 pages instead of scrolling for an hour. Nobody gives you a trophy for saying no to distractions, but those invisible moments are where your future is created. Every disciplined action is like placing one brick. One brick doesn't look impressive, neither do 10. But after enough days, you've built something no storm can destroy. That's how great lives are built. Not through one incredible decision, but through thousands of ordinary ones. Transition to the final part. One day, people will look at your success and say, "You're so lucky." They'll never see the mornings you wanted to quit, the nights you kept working, the sacrifices nobody applauded. They'll only see the result, but you'll know the truth. You weren't lucky, you were disciplined.